This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Landmark College, offering comprehensive support for students with learning disabilities, ADHD, and ASD. Learn more at lcdistraction.org. Landmark College, we teach differently. People very often become, very happy. It's like you've been nearsighted all your life and now you've got eyeglasses and, you're running around enjoying seeing clearly. Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell and welcome to Distraction. Today we have an interesting show, in part because our guest is coming to us all the way from Germany. And I would urge you, all of you who have questions, to send them to us no matter where you are, and we will be sure to reach out to you and bring you on. We love having live questions from listeners from around the world. Let me just go straight to Lena and have her tell us her story, and let me do my best to answer her questions. Lena, welcome to Distraction.
Yeah, hi, thank you. So basically, I've been diagnosed with ADHD for like about a year or so, and I've finally managed to convince a doctor who is not a psychiatrist but my GP to prescribe pretty much the only medication that's even approved for adults around here, which is extended release Ritalin at the lowest dose, right? So I've been taking that for about 3 weeks now, and my doctor is not entirely happy because she says that, I am, since taking it, acting, giddy and over-enthusiastic, and she basically thinks that I'm high. And what that feels like for me is that basically since I've been taking this medication for the first time in a very long time, all of that energy that doesn't go into just, pretending to be a kind of knockoff version of normal is going into me actually doing things. The question is this: how do I tell the difference between feeling, euphoric and energetic because I'm so relieved and my symptoms have, been going down, and feeling euphoric and energetic because I'm high? And from the outside, I suspect they might look a bit similar. Yeah,
well, it's a real case of the blind leading the blind. Your doctor doesn't know anything, and you don't know anything. I'm amazed that you were able even to get diagnosed. How did that happen?
Well, let's say it took a lot of translation and detective work on my part. So, I've gone through the whole, is it an anxiety disorder? Is it depression? Is it this? Is it that? And it always felt wrong, right? Because it never felt like the problem was within me. It felt like the problem was somehow with my connection between me and the world. So I just kind of researched and finally had the suspicion that this might be it.
No, and when you say research, was this on the internet or from books or? I tried to figure out what I was looking for by just kind of doing random research. But then I work for the Max Planck Institute here in law, but it does give me access to all the databases. So basically, I ended up just going right straight to the medical databases and looking for, studies and so forth. Did you read any of my books?
Yes, I did, actually. I did read Driven Through Distraction. I was actually pretty amused because it looks like my mom bought it 10 years ago and put it on the shelf and never actually read it. And
How old are you now?
I am 38.
And how far did you go in school?
I am in grad school, so I've been trying to finish writing a dissertation for the last 8 years or so, which is kind of how all of this has now come to a sticking point.
Okay, in what field?
Comparative law and legal theory.
Okay, so I think it's safe to say you are extremely smart and you have trouble with focus and organization.
You could say that. Especially the organization.
Okay, and do you live alone or do you have a partner?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes it a little bit harder, so you're on your own. And you've only had the help of medication for a few weeks.
Yeah, it's so far been, well, what can I say, transformative. I had no idea that this was what life was supposed to feel like.
Yeah, the response you're getting is wonderful, and people very often become, very happy. Giddy is sort of pathological way of putting it. I'd say very happy, elated, excited. It's like you've been nearsighted all your life, and now you've got eyeglasses, and you're running around enjoying seeing clearly. That won't last. You're not going to be that excited forever because you'll get used to it. But I think your doctor, who has no experience with this, is pathologizing, what is a pretty normal reaction to suddenly being able to see clearly.
Well, that's pretty much what I was thinking. But, on a slightly different level, the issue for me is partly that it seems to me like I'm going to be stuck in this position of having to more or less make decisions for myself and then see if I can get the correct professionals to get on board with them. Because I don't see any possibility in the near future of getting actual, sufficient close by monitoring. So what I'm trying to figure out is what I'm supposed to look for.
You've got me. I mean, in today's world, I'm only 6 hours and a phone call away. And if you find a doctor who's willing to do what I suggest, it's just a matter of monitoring. And if Ritalin XR, or it sounds like, the extended release Ritalin, if that really is the only medication you have over there, good news, there aren't many adjustments that can be made if that's the only one you've got anyway.
The impression I get from, discussions on social media and so forth and forums and so on is that quite a number of people are in slightly similar situations to mine, which is that it's remarkably difficult finding sources of good information, right? So I think what I'm trying to get at is that it's difficult to figure out what to even watch out for.
Okay, well, we're going to switch gears for a few moments while I share a portion of a conversation that I had with Everett Law, a graduate of Landmark College, our wonderful sponsor in Putney, Vermont.
Yes, so like you said, my name is Everett Law, and I went to Landmark right out of high school. I'd been diagnosed with ADD in, I want to say, 5th grade, and then diagnosed with an auditory processing disorder in 7th grade. And so I kind of went through the public school system and kind of went under the radar in a way, and I knew Landmark was going to be the best place for me.
How many years were you there?
I was there from 2013 to 2015. I learned not only how to survive college, but also I think the biggest thing was what tools were in my toolbox, not only for school and for Landmark, but also for kind of life in general, so post-Landmark and post-college life. Because after high school, I knew I didn't really, I didn't have too much ammunition in the realm of applications.
And now you're working at Landmark.
Yes, yep, I'm an admissions counselor now.
And what would you say to people who are interested in attending?
I would say don't stress about what you want to do in life as a career or something like that. I would say go into your application of Landmark and just into Landmark in general. If you have the drive, they will deliver with whatever you need, whether that be getting a bachelor's degree now and then moving on to the outside world, or getting an associate's and then moving on to another school. Whatever goal you have, they will help you and they will deliver on their part.
Well, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you want to learn more, just go to lcdistraction.org. It's the best of its kind, and as Everett has told us, if you put your trust in Landmark, they will give you what you need to go on to the next step. lcdistraction.org, and Everett Law, thank you so much for joining us. Well, I'm a really good source of good information. Okay, so you found one. Okay, so you can use me as a source of good information. So now you can start a chat room or a blog, and you can spread this source of good, reliable information. Now, what you want to watch out for in terms of side effects to stimulant medication are elevated blood pressure, elevated heart rate, insomnia, agitation, sometimes a tremor, or sometimes people just don't like the way it makes them feel. The ones that are grounds for stopping the medication is if your heart rate goes way up or if your blood pressure goes way up. The one side effect that almost always does occur is it cuts your appetite. So you've got to make sure you don't lose a lot of weight. So you should weigh yourself a couple of times a week. And because if you start losing a lot of weight, you really have to stop the medication. So appetite suppression almost always does occur. The other side effects are far less common, but you should check your blood pressure and you should check your heart rate. If those remain stable, you don't have to keep checking all the time because that won't suddenly change unless you change the dose. These meds, once you get on a stable dose, they're very safe and they're very effective. And the thing about being happy, that of course you're happy because you're being more productive. You've been fitted for a good pair of eyeglasses and you can see clearly.
But the other question just in general is, should I try it, for instance, to try a slightly higher dose to find out whether that works better, or, just kind of take what I've got and hope nobody ever takes it away again?
But usually when you find a dose where you've got improvement, going higher only produces side effects. So given what you've got, I would say keep it where it is. And usually you do not develop tolerance. Sometimes the meds just kind of stop working. And when that happens, I tell people to just stop the medication altogether for a few days and restart it at the same dose, and it'll kick in being effective again. Now, there's no reason you shouldn't. I'm not saying don't increase it. If you want to, go ahead. I've just usually found that doesn't produce much benefit, and it usually does just cause side effects. But if you're curious, and most of us with ADD are, I have it too, you go ahead and try it and see what happens. The question of addiction is just not addicting at these doses. And the question of your being happy, and unless it's in the German temperament to forbid happiness, why shouldn't you be happy? And you could show her that it's not addicting just by stopping it for a few days and starting it. I mean, if it were addicting, you'd go into withdrawal, which you won't do. I mean, it's easy enough to prove that it's not addicting. But this doctor is she's a fool if she won't. I mean, tell her about this consultation with me. I mean, you've got one of the world's experts on the line, and you've obtained a consultation. And this doctor ought to be grateful, great, okay, let's go ahead and let her learn from you. And if she's smart, she'll take what she's learned from you and start treating this condition in Germany. There's a huge need for adults with ADD to be treated. Tell this doctor to open up her doors and treat those people so they won't have to wait a year and a half.
Well, it should be fair to her. She's trying to help where a lot of others wouldn't. So, I'm grateful for that.
Of course, she deserves credit, but I hope she's also willing to learn and not get stuck in this notion that, that you're an addict in the making or something like that. I mean, right now it looks like you're on your way to getting your dissertation completed after 8 years.
Oh, yes, it will get done. I am utterly determined.
Great. You're very lucky. And just keep at it and set up structures, times to write, and you'll get your dissertation done this year. Well, Lena, this has been wonderful. Thank you for reaching out to us, and I hope my responses have been useful to you. And please stay in touch. I'd love to get some follow-up from you.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time, and, I appreciate everything you do.
Okay. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, please remember to reach out to us with your questions and show ideas. We love them and make use of them. Our email address is connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's connect@distractionpodcast.com. And please leave us a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts if you like what you're hearing. We need those. We absolutely thrive because of those. Distraction is produced by Collisions, the podcast division of CRN International. Collisions, podcasts for curious people. Our audio engineer, Roman Zeitlin, and our producer is Sarah Gurton.